Causes love doesn't exist. Episode 30.
When did you arrive, boss?
Weren't you going to go home after the meeting?
I remembered I left some papers behind.
I think my birth father heard what I had said. What do I do now? After that, my birth father silently staggered out of the room with a look of shock on his face.
I think the boss is worn out from all the factory work. He's so confused at times.
Yeah. We should understand.
Even though that's what Sukwi and the chief had said, the anxiety from whether my identity had been exposed or not did not fade. The fact that the commute was far for a part-time job and I spent a lot of time around Yangjin, and having been born on the same day and in the same hospital as Yunhai, has to be suspicious from the perspective of my birth father. I was anxious, but I had no one to tell. I spent a sleepless night with my eyes wide open. A week had passed, yet my birth father had not said a word. By this point, I had convinced myself that I was just overthinking the whole situation. How's the factory been doing?
We had an ordeal, but you must not have heard. The CEO got admitted to the hospital.
When did that happen? All of a sudden? Is he all right? How about his wife?
He went to meet someone yesterday and collapsed as soon as he got home. Gosh, his wife was so shaken, she was crying on the phone.
Which hospital? Did she tell you the ward and room number?
Yeah, she did. But he needs rest now, so she told us not to think about visiting. All she asked us was to take good care of the factory. She knows what condition the factory's in.
Do you know who he met that day? Did she say anything?
No, I didn't hear anything about that.
Could he have met Guihyun? Or my icon parents? Or my grandmother? If I knew this was going to happen, I should have told him first. No. Could you tell me the name of the hospital?
No. She told us no one should be visiting.
I have a lot of spare time on my hands. I'll just go and see his face from a distance. And don't you also want to know how he's doing? I'll go see him and tell you if he's okay. That should be fine, Sukwi.
You're really putting me on the spot.
Oh no. I can't get a glimpse of his face from here. Excuse me, nurse.
Yes?
One day Choi, the patient in room 608. Is he okay? He's not very ill or hurt, is he?
Are you related to him? His daughter, perhaps?
Yes.
Like the doctor told your mother earlier, his test results do not show any major complications. But your mother asked for a full-scale checkup while he's here. Don't worry. Just consider it a few days of rest for him as we run his tests.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank goodness he's not suffering from anything major.
You there. Wait. Who are you? Why did you say you were related to my husband?
My birth mother. I'm just a part-timer who worked at Yangjin. The mother in my past life who apologized to me for her shortcomings.
I clearly told Section Chief Yang that no one should visit. Seems like she sent you, though.
Had a much prettier face than I'd remembered.
Please tell her that he's doing much better, that there's no need to worry. He's awake now, you can go inside and say hello.
In my past, the mother that left this world with me all alone. Mom, no. Don't leave me by myself, Mom. Was the last trace of pain that was etched onto my miserable life.
Young lady, take this handkerchief.
Thank you. But I'm glad she looks so healthy now.
He's really doing okay. Not even our daughter's crying, so why are you, dear?
Was Yunhai here?
You know her? She came when he was unconscious. I think she's going to come again this evening after work.
I was uneasy about running into Yunhai while my dad was in there, but I was finally relieved at my mother's words. I'll be off now.
You're going to leave without seeing him?
Yeah, he's awake now and doing well. I'll deliver the good news to the factory. Oh, and Section Chief Yang asked me to tell you, not to worry about the factory.
You must have been busy. Thanks for your concern and taking your time to come all this way. Have a safe trip back. Honey. There are many who are worried for you, so let's get your strength back and leave soon. A young lady who used to work part-time at the factory just came by. She was worried about you. Who was it? She was a pretty young lady. I met her in front of the room. She was crying so dearly, asking if you were okay. It was even making me cry. I asked her to step inside and say hello, but she said she'd be leaving. Wait. What's wrong, honey?
Ah! It was that girl. Siyeon Kim. I cannot forget the first moment I had run into that part-time girl. In front of the factory that day. She was the same age as Yunhai. I was shocked because she looked just like my wife in her youth. Ever since I heard that she was struggling to make a living for herself, it constantly bothered me. From her gaze that followed me around in my memory, I could sense the emotions of a young girl who was longing for her parents. Maybe that's why, on the day I saw her standing in the yard with rosy cheeks from the scorching summer heat, it had me in low spirits all day. It had bothered me that she was living alone after moving into the neighborhood. But with the condition the factory was in, I couldn't afford to take better care of her. But one day, I had coincidentally heard that the chief made food for her. And since then, I gave the chief a handsome sum of money and asked her to keep providing care for Siyeon.
Boss. I'm just making food for Siyeon because I want to. I can't take this money from you.
I'm on the same page as you. She's struggling and living by herself. I just feel bad for her. To the chief, who was adamant to refuse my offer, I added a share of money to her paycheck anyway. But please don't tell the girl. I don't want any unnecessary misunderstanding going around that I'm going out of my way to look after her. I'm old enough to be her dad. Once I heard that she mostly spends her time alone without a proper job. I asked Section Chief Yang to call Siyeon out to the factory every lunch and give her something to eat.
Boss, can I really do that?
Seeing Section Chief Yang's face beaming with joy at the thought relieved me. I was relieved that Siyeon wouldn't be alone every day, at the least. Whenever I'd missed Yunhai, whom became ever so hard to see, I would sometimes recollect that girl's face, the face of Siyeon. I myself couldn't understand the reason why. I kept thinking of a part-timer at the factory who had quit. And the moment that my heart anxiously began to beat without real reason.
Boss, doesn't Siyeon look a lot like your wife?
Was the time Yunsa threw out that comment in passing.